we will be seeing plenty of marquee teams this year in the regular season. There are 10 teams, 10 that have 5 primetime games each. I was stunned to see that many on the list, and I was stunned to see so many teams on the list that struggled last year. It's one thing to put the Patriots and the Rams, the 2 Super Bowl teams, in primetime 5 times. The Chiefs and the Bears 5 times. Cowboys 5 times. Seahawks, a little bit of a surprise, 5 times. But the Steelers, Eagles, Vikings, and Packers each have 5 primetime games. The Packers were 6-9-1. The Vikings stink in primetime. I was surprised to see, think about it. 3 teams in the NFC North, 3 out of 4 teams will have 5 primetime games.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I don't think the list does not surprise me. I mean, the names you mentioned at the end there, yes. I mean, hey, the Steelers, come on. We know that's a national power, a national brand, franchise quarterback, still have stars on their football team. The Eagles, hey, they could have very easily been in the NFC Championship game last year. So I understand that. The Green Bay Packers, it is Aaron Rodgers, and they are, of course, a national brand. I think the most shocking one of that list is your squad, Mike, the Minnesota Vikings. I really am surprised to see them on the, top tier as far as primetime games. Good football team, but, yes, it's a quarterback that has a stigma of not being able to win primetime games like you talk about. And last year wasn't a great year. I just, I don't know. Minnesota seems to be the team that jumps out to me more than the rest down there.
When we interviewed Mike Zimmer, the Vikings coach, at the league meetings last month in Arizona, he made a very pragmatic point. Look, you're in those games. You're playing against good teams, so you've got to rise to the occasion, and last year the Vikings failed to do it. But I know from conversations, Chris, that we have had off the record, off air, some of the best conversations we have with guests like at the Super Bowl happen when we get away from the microphones and away from the cameras. It became clear to me that there's a belief in Minnesota that there's something to this. And that they give him grief in the locker room about the inability to win the primetime games. And one of those primetime games is coming up on a Thursday night when his old team comes to town. The Washington franchise with Case Keenum, who hasn't been in U.S. Bank Stadium since the Minneapolis Miracle, assuming he's the quarterback when Week 8 rolls around. Adrian Peterson returning to Minnesota as well. And I remember when we started talking about revenge games this year, I said that game is good enough once Case Keenum joined Washington to put it in primetime, and here it is in primetime Week 8 on a Thursday night. And that's one of those. And the Vikings had been lobbying for a short week home game. Their short week games in recent years, they've had to go on the road.
Yeah, that's right.
Last year they had to go to L.A. This year they get to be at home for that short week game, and they're only in Detroit the week before, so it's not like it's a long trip home before they get ready for the Thursday night matchup against Washington.
Yeah, that's right. And, the other thing that jumps out to me, yes, it's 5 primetime games, right, with your Minnesota Vikings, and we'll be watching closely. But, 2 of those Sunday night appearances are later in the year to where, they're going to have to earn them, right? I mean, let's say Week 10, am I correct with that? That's at the Dallas Cowboys. That's supposed to be a Sunday night matchup. And then you have the Week 15 at Los Angeles Chargers. If the Minnesota Vikings aren't playing well, especially in that Chargers matchup, that could be one that maybe gets flexed or changed either way. So there is that dynamic about it. Even though you're scheduled for primetime games, if it's Sunday night football and you're not playing well, you might not have a primetime game.
Well, let me point something out here. Week 10 is before the bar for flexing gets a lot
lower.
Week
12 or 11?
Week 11. Week 11 is when the flex really starts. There's that option week 6 to 10 in the event that there's a torn ACL suffered by a quarterback like happened last year to 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. There was a flex in that window, I believe. But first of all, they're playing the Cowboys.
That's
game
not getting flexed. I know.
That's not
I said
flexed.
Especially the Chargers one. That was the one I looked at. But yes.
Well, especially because maybe the Chargers aren't going to be very good.
Sure.
I think both teams have to hold up their end of the bargain because there will be attractive matchups with 2 potential playoff teams late in the year. And the Vikings could be 11-3 going into that game, but if the Chargers are 3-11, that game isn't going to be played in primetime. So both teams are a factor in whether or not those late season primetime games stick. And we saw a lot of flexing last year, and it's something the NFL does. And the NFL, has, especially with new TV deals on the immediate horizon, you want to ensure that the best games are being played. It's in the NFL's best interest to put the best games in primetime because it creates a bigger audience, a bigger rating, more buzz, and ultimately allows the networks to justify paying more money for that property. If you're giving the networks a more valuable property, they're going to pay more money for it. It's basic economics.
Yeah, no, I get it. The NFL and NBC and everybody have done a great job of making the Sunday night matchups, especially last year. I really don't remember any duds that we had. I mean, I thought every matchup was compelling, good, and that's the way it should be, especially when there's only one game on that night or whatever it may be. I want to see the best teams when I can just sit there on the couch and focus on one game, and it makes a lot of sense from the NFL standpoint and for the broadcast networks.
Do we worry about teams like the Bears and maybe to a lesser extent the Chiefs having so many primetime games? Because last year the Bears were able to compile a great record kind of under the radar. This year, they're going to be a team that people are focused on trying to beat, and they're going to have this schedule where, you jump around, you play, you disrupt your routine. Every coach would prefer to start at 1 p.m. Eastern every week. And Matt Nagy's going to have to adjust very quickly to having that 5 primetime game lineup as he goes into his second season.
Yeah, it's not easy, and you're right. This is going to be a different year. This is not like, oh, we're going to catch you by surprise. We're the Chicago Bears this year. Everybody knows they're extremely talented, yes, but there's still some, young, unproven aspects to their team to a degree, and we know that, the NFC North got better. The Lions have gotten better in free agency. The Green Bay Packers did as well, and Aaron Rodgers and the new coach, and of course the Minnesota Vikings are a very talented team to begin with. This will be a big test, and as I mentioned in the first hour, these night games, they do throw you. Players, coaches are creatures of habit. They really are. I mean, especially in football. And when you get thrown night games and travel and getting home really late or really early in the morning, and it messes up your preparation going into the next week, like I talked about, not only is it grueling on the players, it's more grueling on the coaches. I think they're the ones that take the brunt of, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I had to pull an all-nighter because we landed at 5 in the morning, and I had to hit the ground running Monday morning because, we got a big game, or Tuesday morning if you come off Monday Night Football, and it's not easy. It can wear you out.
Yeah, and these are all very real factors as you go through that grind week in and week out of a football season. It's amazing the hours they put in and any disruption to what would be a normal routine. There's nothing normal about football season, but when you have that short week game, when you've got the Monday night game and then you've got to fly home and maybe you've got a road game the following week. And I think the Packers are the only team this year that has a road game on a Monday night followed by a road game the following Sunday, which is not an easy thing to do. And one bit of good news for the Dolphins and the Bengals, they're the only two teams this year who do not have a short week Thursday game.
Wow.
And on one hand, you can say we're being disrespected. On the other hand, you can say, hey, this is great. We don't have to turn around and play on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it is great. I think the players will think it's great. That's never easy. Honestly, this is the coaches like Thursday night football, Mike. That's one where I bet you the Bengals and Dolphins coaches are going to be a little disappointed. Yes, you have to cram a lot into a 3-day period, but there's only so much you can cram in that 3-day period as far as getting your team prepared on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for a Thursday game. But where coaches really love that Thursday game is it's almost like a semi-bye week, another bye week, because then you do get a really relaxed Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule for an NFL coach who really has no days off when once training camp starts. That might be Thursday game. The coach might throw you a bone and say, you know what, guys, take Friday and Saturday off. I'll see you guys here Sunday, because he's still got an extra day of preparation for the team he got coming up the next week. So I bet you Zach Taylor and Brian Flores saw that and went, damn it, are you kidding me? We didn't get a Thursday night game. I would have liked that day of rest or whatever it may be that comes with it.
So you give the players an extra day or two off so you can take an extra day or two off.
That's exactly it. And you got to give the players an extra day or two off. I mean, when you play, 2 physical games in a what is that, a 72, 96-hour window, the players are definitely going to need to kind of rest and catch up a little bit.
So if I tell you to take tomorrow off, does that mean I get tomorrow off?
Deal. Nope. You got to be here. You're the big money. I'm a player. You're a coach. Get in here. Grind away. Let's go.
When we return, we're going to answer some of your questions related to the schedule, plus anything else that catches our attention. More PFT Live coming at you right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.